This is what brings us to you, Ethan. You got this comic, Cyber Frog 2.
That's the second one, yeah. Wreck Planet.
Let's talk about your story first with getting canceled, so people can understand what Comicsgate is and why they should hear your story. Because I know a lot of people may not be familiar.
Oh, sure.
Where'd my pen go?
Is it this one?
That it is.
Pen's awesome.
So basically, you are responsible for some of the most iconic comic book imagery.
I like that. I don't know if it's true, but yeah.
Well, so you created Flash's mother, Nora.
Well, that's one thing, yeah.
No, I know, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Hold on. The movie that's coming out, the Flash movie,
yeah,
it's about him going back to save his mom, is it not?
Right, I think
it's the
yeah.
Flashpoint paradox.
I guess.
That's a major DC storyline.
Right.
Where the Flash, his mother was killed by Zoom, and then he wants to go back in time because he can run so fast he can do it. So this is a character you created, now so influential. There's a major, massive, blockbuster film about to be released. I think that's important context for people to understand the amount of influence you've had on the industry is large. Plus, in the video game that came out a few years ago, Injustice 2, yeah. Atrocitus is a character who is in it. You can play as him, a character that you created the art for.
Yeah, I created the whole thing. I'll take 100% credit for Atrocitus. Yeah, I had the name. I said, this is so DC Comics, Atrocitus. It sounds great.
So you actually created the character?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then one day you said, "Hey, everybody, I voted for Trump," and they came after you.
Well, they knew I was a Republican. I mean, they did. I used to. I mean, I literally was the only elephant in the room all the time when I went to comic book conventions, and everybody looked at me weird. I would have friends. I would make friends with other professionals, and then I don't know. We'd spend a little time apart, and then the next time I'd see them, they'd go, "You voted for Bush?" And they'd have this look of disgust about them that I was like, yes, I'm a Republican. I voted for Bush. And then that was fine. I think the Obama years were great because, for me anyway, because I wasn't being persecuted. Nobody was worried about anything because Obama was president. They won. And Trump was a joke. I really didn't think much of Trump in 2015, but he won me over by 2016, and I was a fan. And I loved the Pepe memes. I loved all that stuff. Anyway, it was no big deal until Trump actually won. And when Trump won, I just thought, great, it's our turn. Very naive about the culture war. Wore my MAGA hat that was autographed by the president, and I took a nice picture and I tweeted it out. And that's when I started to see messages from my peers saying things like, Ethan's MAGA, Ethan Van Sciver's MAGA. Did you see that? Yeah, well, I guess he's canceled now, right, everybody? He's canceled. And I didn't know what that was all about, but there was definitely like rage over this idea that somebody who was a fairly influential artist at DC Comics was a Trump supporter. And I didn't think it was gonna, I basically talked to a few of them and kind of said, hey, this is the way, oh God, I'm so naive. I said, this is the way the country moves forward. Right step, left step, basically we all get our turn and hopefully, this is progress. But then I got a message from somebody who said, how could you do this? You voted against all of your queer comrades in comics. How do you understand that our lives are in jeopardy and you voted for that? Don't you care? And I guess I wrote back to that person and I kind of said, well, I guess I don't care that much about that. I guess I have other priorities in my life than, we all have our different, issues that we vote on. Anyway, my response to that tweet or that private message got shared around to all my peers. And now everybody was furious with me because I'd basically invalidated the lives of my queer associates in comics. And then the final thing was I was persecuted. People were coming after me. I had a writer I was working with on Batman. I was doing Batman for a little while. This great guy named Greg Hurwitz. And he had a mutual friend. He had Jordan B. Peterson was his friend. And he kind of said, have you heard of this guy, Jordan Peterson? I said, yes, he's great, Well, he's seen your work. He likes it. He wants to know if you'll illustrate his upcoming book. And I was just like, well, if I do that, if I do it, I'm going to get a whipping. I know it. That's going to be a big problem. I'm already on the verge of cancellation. I was terrified. My wife and I just had a baby who was diagnosed with autism. And so I needed my job. I really needed my job. But on the other hand, I had this conversation with Jordan Peterson where he said something that really impacted me. And I still think about this every single day. And it helps me step forward. It helps me take another step. He said, Ethan, I said, I'm scared. Dr. Peterson, I'm scared to illustrate your book. And he just said, Ethan, you can't let these mobbers back you into a corner. I wish I could do a Canadian accent for you. You can't let these mobbers back you into a corner. And I just thought to myself, you're damn right. You know, I'm going to illustrate your book. And so I did. I illustrated 12 Rules for Life. It turned out to be a #1 bestseller, and that was it.